and welcome to this continuing second look at the Spanish tragedy by Thomas Kyd. We are concluding our second run of this over this month as we conclude the play from Act 3, Scene 8 through to the end. This is where, in a probable production, we would put an interval anyway, so hopefully you've gone away, got yourself a drink since the last half, and are preparing yourself for the continuation of this tragic narrative. So we present the second half of The Spanish Tragedy by Thomas Kyd.
So that you say this herb will purge the eye, and this the head. Oh, but none of them will purge the heart. No, there is no medicine left for my disease, nor any physic to recure the dead. Horatio! Where? Horatio?
Good madam, affright not thus yourself with outrage for your son Horatio. He sleeps in quiet in the Elysian fields.
Why did I not give you gowns and goodly things? Bought you a whistle and a whipstalk too, to be revenged on their villainies.
Madam, these humours do torment my soul.
My soul, poor soul, thou talk'st of things thou know not what. My soul hath silver wings that mounts me up into the highest heavens to heaven. Aye, there sits my Horatio, backed with a troop of fiery cherubims, dancing about his newly healed wounds, singing sweet hymns and chanting heavenly notes. Rare harmony to greet his innocence that died. I died, a mirror to our days. But say, where shall I find the men, the murderers that slew Horatio? Whither shall I run to find out them that murdered my son?
What means this outrage that is offered me? Why am I thus sequestered from the court? No notice? Shall I not know the cause of these my secret and suspicious ills? Accursed brother, unkind murderer, why bend'st thou thus thy mind to martyr me? Hieronimo, why writ I of thy wrongs? Or why art thou so slack in thy revenge? Andrea, oh Andrea, that thou saw'st me for thy friend Horatio handled thus, and him for me thus causeless murdered. Well, force perforce, I must constrain myself to patience and apply me to the time, till heaven, as I have hoped, shall set me free.
Come, Madam Bellimperia, this may not be.
Boy, talk no farther. Thus far things go well. Thou art assured that thou saw'st him dead?
Or else, my lord, I live not.
That's enough. As for his resolution in his end, leave that to him with whom he sojourns now. Here, take my ring and give it to Christophil, and bid him let my sister be enlarged, and bring her hither straight. This that I did was for policy, to smooth and keep the murder secret, which as a 9 days wonder, being overblown, my gentle sister will I now enlarge.
And time, Lorenzo, for my lord the Duke, you heard, inquired for her yesternight.
Why, and my lord, I hope you heard me say, sufficient reason why she kept away. But that's all one. My lord, you love her.
I?
That then in your love beware. Deal cunningly. Solve all suspicions, only soothe me up. And if she hap to stand on terms with us, as for her sweetheart and concealment so, jest with her gently, under feigned jest are things concealed that else would breed unrest. But here she comes. Now, sister.
Sister, no, thou art no brother, but an enemy. Else wouldst thou not have used thy sister so, first to affright me with thy weapons drawn, and with extremes abuse my company, and then to harry me like whirlwind's rage amidst a crew of thy confederates, and clap me up where none might come at me. And now were I at any to reveal my wrongs, what madding fury did possess thy wits? Or wherein is't that I offended thee?
Advise you better, Bellimperia, for I have done you no disparagement, unless by more discretion than deserved, I sought to save your honor and mine own.
Mine honor? Why, Lorenzo, wherein is't that I neglect my reputation so, as you or any need to rescue it?
His Highness and my father were resolved to come confer with old Hieronimo concerning certain matters of estate that by the Viceroy was determined.
And wherein was mine honor touched in that?
Have patience, Bellimperia. Hear the rest.
Me next in sight, as messenger they sent to give him notice that they were so nigh. Now when I came, consorted with the prince, and unexpected in an arbor there found Bellimperia with Horatio.
How then?
Why, then remembering that old disgrace which you for Don Andrea had endured, and now were likely longer to sustain, by being found so meanly accompanied, thought rather, for I knew no readier mean, to thrust for Horatio forth in my father's way.
And carry on obscurely somewhere else, lest that his Highness should have found you there.
Even so, my lord, are you and you are witness that this is true which he entreateth of? You, gentle brother, forged this for my sake, and you, my lord, were made his instrument. A work of worth, worthy the noting too. But what's the cause that you concealed me since?
Your melancholy, sister, since the news of your first favorite Don Andrea's death, my father's old wrath hath exasperated.
And better was it for you, being in disgrace, to absent yourself and give his fury place.
But why had I no notice of his ire?
That were to add more fuel to your fire, who burned like Etna for Andrea's loss.
Hath not my father then inquired for me?
Sister, he hath, and thus I excused thee. But Bellimperia, see the gentle prince, look on thy love, behold yon young Balthazar, whose passions are by thy presence increased, and in whose melancholy thou mayst see thy hate, his love, thy flight, his following thee.
To love. Brother, you are become an orator, I know not. By what experience to politic for me, past all compare, since last I saw you, but content yourself. The prince is meditating higher things.
'Tis of thy beauty then that conquers kings, of those thy tresses Ariadne twines, wherewith my liberty thou hast surprised, of that thine ivory front, my sorrow's map, wherein I see no haven to rest my hope.
to love and fear, and both at once, my lord. In my conceit are things of more import than woman's wits are to be busied with.
'Tis I that love,
Whom?
Bellimperia.
But I that fear.
Whom?
Bellimperia.
Fear yourself.
Aye, brother.
How?
As those that what they love are loath and fear to lose.
Then, fair, let Balthazar your keeper be.
No, Balthazar doth fear as well as we. Et tremulo metui pavidum junxere timorem, est vanunt stolidae proditionis opus.
Nay, and you argue things so cunningly. We'll go continue this discourse at court.
Led by the lodestar of her heavenly looks, wends poor oppressed Balthazar, as o'er the mountains walks the wanderer, in searching to effect his pilgrimage.
By your leave, sir.
Good leave, have you? Nay, I pray you go, for I'll leave you if you can leave me so.
Pray you, which is the next way to my lord the Duke's?
The next way from me.
To his house, we mean.
Oh, hard by. 'Tis yon house that you see.
You could not tell us if his son was there.
Ooh. My Lord Lorenzo.
I, sir.
Forbear! The other talk for us far fitter were. But if you be importunate to know the way to him and where to find him out, then list to me. I'll resolve your doubt. There is a path upon your left-hand side that leadeth from a guilty conscience unto a forest of distrust and fear. A darksome place, and dangerous to pass. There shall you meet with melancholy thoughts, whose baleful humours, if you but uphold, it will conduct you to despair and death, whose rocky cliffs, when you have once beheld, with a huge dale of lasting night, that, kindled with the world's iniquities, doth cast up filthy and detested fumes. Not far from thence, where murderers have built a habitation for their cursed souls, there, in a brazen cauldron, fixed by Jove in his fell wrath upon a sulphur flame, yourselves shall find Lorenzo, bathing him in boiling lead and blood of innocence. Oh, why?
Yeah.
Farewell, good.
Doubtless, this man is passing lunatic, or imperfection of his age doth make him dote. Come, that's a way to seek my lord the Duke.
Now, sir, perhaps I come and see the king? The king sees me, and fain would hear my suit. Why, is this not a strange and seld-seen thing, that standers by with toys should strike me mute? Go to. I see their shifts, and say no more. Hieronimo, 'tis time for thee to trudge down by the dale that flows with purple gore, standeth a fiery tower. There sits a judge upon a seat of steel and molten brass, and twixt his teeth he hold a firebrand that leads unto the lake where hell doth stand. Away, Hieronimo! To him be gone. He'll do thee justice for Horatio's death. Turn down this path. Thou shalt be with him straight. Or this. And then thou needst not take thy breath. This way, or that way, I. Soft and fair, not so. For if I hang or kill myself, let's know who will revenge Horatio's murder then. No, fine, no. Pardon me, I'll none of that. This way I'll take. And this way comes the king. Oh, and here I'll have a fling at him, that's flat. And Balthazar, I'll be with thee to bring, and thee, Lorenzo. Oh, here's the king. Nay, stay. And here, there goes the hair away.
Now show, ambassador, what our viceroy saith. Hath he received the articles we sent?
Justice? Oh, justice to Hieronimo!
Back! Seest thou not the king's busy?
Oh, is he so?
Who is he that interrupts our business?
Not I. Hieronimo, beware. Go by. Go by.
Renowned king, he hath received and read thy kingly proffers and thy promised league, and as a man extremely overjoyed to hear his son so princely entertained, whose death he had so solemnly bewailed, this for thy further satisfaction and kingly love he kindly lets thee know. First, for the marriage of his princely son with Bellimperia, thy beloved niece, the news are more delightful to his soul than myrrh or incense to the offended heavens. In person, therefore, will he come himself to see the marriage rite solemnized, and in the presence of the court of Spain, to knit a sure inextricable band of kingly love and everlasting league betwixt the crowns of Spain and Portingale. There will he give his crown to Balthazar, and make a queen of Bellimperia.
Brother, how like you this our viceroy's love?
No doubt, my lord. It is an argument of honourable care to keep his friend, and wondrous zeal to Balthazar his son. Nor am I least indebted to his grace that bends his liking to my daughter thus.
Now last, dread lord, here hath his highness sent, although he send not that his son return, his ransom due to Don Horatio.
Horatio? Who calls Horatio?
And well remembered, thank his majesty. Here, see it given to Horatio.
Justice! Oh, justice! Justice, gentle king!
Who is that? Hieronimo?
Justice! Oh, justice! Oh, my son! My son! My son, whom naught can ransom or redeem.
Hieronimo, you are not well advised.
Oh, away, Lorenzo! Hinder me no more! For thou hast made me bankrupt of my bliss. Give me my son. You shall not ransom him. Away! I'll rip the bowels of the earth and ferry over to the Elysian plains and bring my son to show his deadly wounds. Stand from about me! I'll make the pickaxe of my poniard, and here surrender up my marshalship. For I'll go marshal in the fields of hell to be avenged on you all for this.
What means this outrage? Will none of you restrain his fury?
Nay, soft and fair, you shall not need to strive. For needs must he go that the devils drive.
What accident hath happed Hieronimo? I have not seen him to demean him so.
My gracious lord, he is with extreme pride conceived of young Horatio his son, and covetous of having to himself the ransom of young Prince Balthazar, distract and in a manner lunatic.
Believe me, nephew, we are sorry for it. This is the love that fathers bear their sons. But, gentle brother, go give to him this gold, the prince's ransom. Let him have his due. For what he hath, Horatio shall not want. Happily, Hieronimo hath need thereof.
But if he be thus helplessly distract, 'tis requisite his office be resigned and given to one of more discretion.
We shall increase his melancholy so. 'Tis best we see further in it first, till we ourself will hold exempt the place. And brother, now bring in the ambassador, that he may be a witness of the match twixt Balthazar and Bellimperia, that we may prefix a certain time wherein the marriage shall be solemnized, that we may have thy lord, the Viceroy, here.
Therein your highness highly shall content his majesty, that longs to hear from hence.
On then, and hear you, Lord Ambassador.
Vindicta me. Aye, heaven will be revenged of every ill. Nor will they suffer murder unrepaid. Then stay, Hieronimo, attend their will, for mortal men may not appoint their time. Per scalus semper tutest, scaleribus ita. Strike, and strike home where wrong is offered thee. For evils unto ills conductors be, and test the worst of resolution. For he that thinks with patience to contend to quiet life, his life shall easily end. Fatasi miseros juvant abe salutum, fatasi vitam negant abe sepulchrum. If destiny thy misery do ease, then thou hast health, and happy shalt thou be. If destiny deny thee life, Hieronimo, yet shalt thou be assured of a tomb. If neither, yet let this be thy comfort. Heaven covereth him that hath no burial. And to conclude, I will revenge his death. But how? Not as the vulgar wits of men, with open but inevitable ills, as by a secret, yet a certain mean, which under kindship will be cloaked best. Wise men will take their opportunity closely and safely, fitting things to time. But in extremes advantage hath no time, and therefore all times fit not for revenge. Thus, therefore, I will rest me in unrest, dissembling quiet in unquietness, not seeming that I know their villainies, that my simplicity may make them think that ignorantly I will let all slip. For ignorance I wot, and well they know, remedium malorum iners est. Nor aught avails it me to menace them, who, as a wintry storm upon a plain, will bear me down with their nobility. Oh, no, no, Hieronimo, thou must enjoin thy eyes to observation, and thy tongue to milder speeches than thy spirit affords, thy heart to patience, and thy hands to rest, thy cap to courtesy, and thy knee to bow, till to revenge thou know when, where, and how. How now? What noise? What coil is that you keep?
Here are sort of poor petitioners that are importunate, and it shall please you, sir, that you should plead their cases to the king.
That I should plead their several actions. Why, let them enter, and let me see them.
So I tell you this, for learning and for law, that there is not any advocate in Spain that can prevail or will take half the pain that he will in pursuit of equity.
Come near, you men that thus importune me. Now must I bear a face of gravity, for thus I used before my marshalship to plead in causes as corregidor. Come on, sirs. What's the matter?
Sir, an action.
Of battery?
Oh, mine of debt.
Give place.
No, sir, mine is an action of the case.
Mine an ejection infirmi, by a lease.
Content you, sirs. Are you determined that I should plead your several actions?
Oh, aye, sir, and here's my declaration.
And here's my band.
And here's my lease.
But wherefore stands yon silly man so mute, with mournful eyes and heaven upreared? Come hither, father. Let me know thy cause.
O worthy sir, my cause, but slightly known, may move the hearts of warlike myrmidons, and melt the Corsic rocks with rueful tears.
Say, father, tell me, what's thy suit?
Nay, sir, could my woes give way unto my most distressful words, then should I not in paper, as you see, with ink bewray what blood began in me.
What's here? The humble supplication of Don Bazulto for his murdered son?
Aye, sir.
No, sir. It was my murdered son. Oh, my son. My son. Oh, my son, Horatio. But thine, all thine. Bazulto, be content. Here, take my handkerchief and wipe thine eyes, whilst wretched I in thy mishaps may see the lively portrait of my dying self. Oh, no. Not this. Horatio, this was thine. And when I dyed it in thy dearest blood, this was a token twixt thy soul and me, that of thy death revenged I should be. But here, take this, and this, and this. Oh, my purse. This and this. All of them are thine. All as one we are in our extremities.
Oh, see the kindness of Hieronimo.
This gentleness shows him a gentleman.
See. Oh, see thy shame, Hieronimo. See here, a loving father to his son. Behold the sorrows and the sad laments that he delivereth for his son's decease. If love's effects so strive in lesser things, if love enforce such moods in meaner wits, if love express such power in poor estates, Hieronimo, when as a raging sea, tossed with the wind and tide, turnest then the upper billows course of waves to keep, whilst lesser waters labour in the deep, then shamest thou not, Hieronimo, to neglect the sweet revenge of thy Horatio? Though on this earth justice will not be found, I'll down to hell, and in this passion knock at the dismal gates of Pluto's court, getting by force, as once Alcides did, a troop of furies and tormenting hags to torture Don Lorenzo and the rest. Yet, lest the triple-headed porter should deny my passage to the slimy strand, the Thracian poet thou shalt counterfeit. Come on, old father, be my Orpheus. If thou canst no notes upon the harp, then sound the burden of thy sore heart's grief till we do gain. The Proserpine may grant revenge on them that murdered my son. Then will I rent and tear them, thus and thus, shivering their limbs in pieces with my teeth.
Sir, my declaration! My declaration!
Save my bond.
Alas, my lease, it cost me £10. You, my lord, have torn the same.
That cannot be. I never gave it wound. Show me one drop of blood fall from the same. How is it possible I should slay it then? Tush, no. Run after. Catch me if you can. And art thou come, Horatio, from the depths, to ask for justice in this upper earth, to tell thy father thou art unrevenged, to wring more tears from Isabella's eyes, whose lights are dimmed with overlong laments? Go back, my son. Complain to Aarchus, for here's no justice. Gentle boy, be gone, for justice is exited from the earth. Hieronimo will bear thee company. Thy mother cries on righteous Rhadamanth for just revenge against the murderers.
Alas, my lord, whence springs this troubled speech?
Shh, but let me look on my Horatio. Sweet boy, how art thou changed in death's black shade? Had Proserpine no pity on thy youth, but suffered thy fair crimson-coloured spring with withered winter to be blasted thus? Oh, Horatio, thou art older than thy father. Oh, ruthless fate that favour thus transforms!
Ah, good my lord, I am not your young son.
What? Not my son? Thou then a fury art, sent from the empty kingdom of black night to summon me to make appearance before grim Minos and just Rhadamanth, to plague Hieronimo that is remiss and seeks not vengeance for Horatio's death.
I am a grieved man and not a ghost, that came for justice for my murdered son.
Aye. Now I know thee. Now thy name's thy son. Thou art the lively image of my grief. Within thy face my sorrows I may see. Thy eyes are gummed with tears, thy cheeks are wan, thy forehead troubled, and thy muttering lips murmur sad words, abruptly broken off. Thy force inside, spirit breathes. And all this sorrow riseth for thy son, and self-same sorrow feel I for my son. Oh, come on, old man. Them shalt to Isabel, lean on my arm. I thee, thou me shalt stay, and thou and I and she will sing a song 3 parts in one, but all of discords framed. Talk not of courts, but let us now be gone. For with a cord Horatio was slain.
Go, brother, 'tis the Duke of Castile's cause. Salute the Viceroy in our name.
I go.
Go forth, Don Pedro, for thy nephew's sake, and greet the Duke of Castile.
Shall be so.
And now to meet these Portuguese, for as we now are, so sometimes were these, kings and commanders of these Western Indies. Welcome, brave Viceroy, to our court of Spain, and welcome all his honorable train. 'Tis not unknown to us for why you come, or have so kingly crossed the seas. Sufficeth it, in this we note the troth, and more than common love you lend to us. So, it is mine honorable niece, for it beseems us now that it be known, already is betrothed to Balthazar. And by appointment and our condescent, tomorrow are they to be married. In this intent we entertain thyself, thy followers, their pleasure, and our peace. Speak, men of Portingale, shall it be so? If I say so, if not, say flatly no.
Now, Ned King, I come not, as thou think'st, with doubtful followers, unresolved men, but such as have upon thine articles confirmed thy motion and contented me. No, sovereign, I come to solemnize the marriage of thy beloved niece, fair Bellimperia, with my Balthazar. With thee, my son, who sith I live to see, here, take my crown, I give it her and thee. And let me live a solitary life, in ceaseless prayers, to think how strangely heaven hath thee preserved.
See, brother, how nature strives in him. Come, worthy Viceroy, and accompany thy friend with thine extremities. A place more private fits this princely mood.
Or here, or where your highness thinks it good.
Nay, stay, Lorenzo. Let me talk with thee. Seest thou this entertainment of these kings?
I do, my lord, and joy to see the same.
And knowest thou why this meeting is?
For her, my lord, whom Balthazar doth love, and to confirm their promised marriage.
She is thy sister.
Bellimperia, aye, my gracious lord, and this is the day that I've longed so happily to see.
Thou wouldst be loath that any fault of thine should intercept her in her happiness.
Heavens will not let Lorenzo err so much.
Why then, Lorenzo, listen to my words. It is suspected and reported too that thou, Lorenzo, wrongest Hieronimo, and in his suit towards his majesty still keepst him back and seeks to cross his suit.
That I, my lord?
I tell thee, son, myself have heard it said, when to my sorrow I have been ashamed to answer for thee, though thou art my son. Lorenzo, knowest thou not the common love and kindness that Hieronimo hath won by his deserts within the court of Spain? Or seest thou not the king, my brother's care in his behalf, and to procure his health? Lorenzo, should thou thwart his passions, and he exclaim against thee to the king, what honour were it in this assembly, or what a scandal were it among the kings, to hear Hieronimo exclaim on thee? Tell me, and look thou tell me truly too, whence groweth the ground of this report in court?
My lord, it lies not in Lorenzo's power to stop the vulgar liberal of their tongues. A small advantage makes a water breach, and no man lives that long contenteth all.
Myself has seen thee busy to keep back him and his supplications from the king.
Yourself, my lord, hath seen his passions that ill beseemed the presence of a king. And for I pitied him in his distress, I held him thence with kind and courteous words, as free from malice to Hieronimo as to my soul, my lord.
Hieronimo, my son, mistakes thee then.
My gracious father, believe me, so he doth. But what's a silly man distracting mind to think upon the murder of his son? Alas, how easy it is for him to err. But for this satisfaction and the world's, 'twere good, my lord, that Hieronimo and I were reconciled, if he means misconstrue me.
Lorenzo, thou hast said, it shall be so. Go, one of you, and call Hieronimo.
Come, Bellimperia, Balthazar's content, my sorrow's ease and sovereign of my bliss, sith heaven hath ordained thee to be mine. Disperse those clouds and melancholy looks, and clear them up with those thy sun-bright eyes, wherein my hope and heaven's fair beauty lies.
My looks, my lord, are fitting for my love, which, new begun, can show no brighter yet.
New kindled flames should burn as morning sun.
But not too fast, lest heat and all be done. I see my lord, my father.
Bruce, my love, I'll go salute him.
Welcome, Balthazar. Welcome, brave prince, the pledge of Castile's peace. And welcome, Bellimperia. How now, girl? What comest thou sadly to salute us thus? Content thyself, for I am satisfied. It is not now as when Andrea lived. We have forgotten and forgiven that, and thou art graced with a happier love. But Balthazar, here comes Hieronimo. I'll have a word with him.
And where's the Duke?
Yonder.
Even so. What new device have they devised at Trow? Porcus palabras, mild as the lamb. Is't I will be revenged? No, I am not the man.
Welcome, Hieronimo.
Welcome, Hieronimo.
Welcome, Hieronimo.
My lords, I thank you for Horatio.
Hieronimo, the reason that I sent to speak with you is this.
What? So short? Then I'll be gone. I thank you for it.
Nay, stay, Hieronimo. Go call him, son.
Hieronimo, my father craves a word with you.
With me, sir? Why, my lord, I thought you had done.
No, what he had.
Hieronimo, I hear you find yourself aggrieved at my son, because you have not had access unto the king, and say 'tis he that intercepts your suits.
Why, is not this a miserable thing, my lord?
Hieronimo, I hope you have no cause, and would be loath that one of your deserts should once have reason to suspect my son, considering how I think of you myself.
Your son Lorenzo? Oh, my noble lord, the hope of Spain, mine honourable friend. Oh, grant me the combat of them if they dare. I'll meet him face to face to tell me so. These be the scandalous reports of such as love not me, and hate my lord too much. Should I suspect Lorenzo would prevent or cross my suit that loved my son so well? Oh, my lord, I am ashamed it should be said.
Hieronimo, I never gave you cause.
My good lord, I know you did not.
There then pause, and for the satisfaction of the world, Hieronimo, frequent my homely house, the Duke of Castile, Cyprian's ancient seat, and when thou wilt, use me, my son, and it. But here, before Prince Balthazar and me, embrace each other and be perfect friends.
I marry my lord, and shall. Mwah! Mwah! Friends, quoth he, see, I'll be friends with you all. Oh, especially with you, my lovely lord. For diverse causes it is fit for us that we be friends. The world's suspicious, and men may think what we imagine not.
Why, this is friendly done, Hieronimo.
And that I hope. Old grudges are forgot.
What else? It were a shame it should not be so.
Come on, Hieronimo, at my request. Let us entreat your company today.
Your lordship's to command. Keep away. Chi mi fa pio correzze che non suole, tradito mia, o tradir mi vuole.
Awake, Erytho! Cerberus, awake! Solicit Pluto, gentle Proserpine to combat Acheron and Erebus for ne'er by Styx and Phlegethon in hell, nor ferried care unto the fiery lake such fearful sights as poor Andrea sees. Revenge, awake!
Awake? For why?
Awake, Revenge, for thou art ill-advised to sleep. Awake! What thou art warned to watch.
Content thyself and do not trouble me.
Awake, Revenge, if love, as love hath had, have yet the power or prevalence in hell. Hieronimo with Lorenzo is joined in league, and intercepts our passage to Revenge. Awake, Revenge, or woe we are begone!
Thus worldlings ground what they have dreamed upon. Content thyself, Andrea, though I sleep, yet is my mood soliciting their souls. Sufficeth thee that poor Hieronimo cannot forget his son Horatio, nor dies Revenge, although he sleep awhile, for in unquiet quietness is feigned, and slumbering is a common worldly wile. Behold, Andrea, for an instance how Revenge hath slept, and then imagine thou what 'tis to be subject to destiny.
Awake, Revenge! Reveal this mystery.
Lo, the first two. First the nuptial torches bore, as brightly burning as the midday's sun. But after them doth Hymen, high as fast, clothed in sable and a saffron robe, and blows them out and quencheth them with blood, as discontent that things continue so.
Sufficeth me, thy meanings understood, and thanks to thee than those infernal powers that will not tolerate a lover's woe. Rest thee, for I will set to thee the rest, to see the rest.
Then argue not, for thou hast thy request.
Is this the love thou bearest, Horatio? Is this the kindness that thou counterfeitest? Are these the fruits of thine incessant tears? Hieronimo, are these thy passions, thy protestations, and thy deep laments, that thou wert wont to weary men withal? O unkind father, O deceitful world, with what excuses canst thou show thyself from this dishonor and the hate of men, thus to neglect the loss in life of him whom both my letters and thine own belief assures thee to be causeless slaughtered? Hieronimo, for shame. Hieronimo, be not a history to after times of such ingratitude unto thy son. Unhappy mothers of such children then, but monstrous fathers to forget so soon. The death of those whom they with care and cost have tendered so, thus careless should be lost. Myself, a stranger in respect of thee, so loved his life, as still I wish their deaths. Nor shall his death be unrevenged by me, although I bear it out for fashion's sake. For here I swear, in sight of heaven and earth, shouldst thou neglect the love thou shouldst retain, and give it over, and devise no more, myself should send their hateful souls to hell, that wrought his downfall with extremest death.
But may it be that Bellimperia vows such revenge as she hath deigned to say? Why then, I see that Hen applies our drift, and all the saints do sit soliciting for vengeance on those cursed murderers. Madam, 'tis true, and now I find it so. I found a letter written in your name, and in that letter how Horatio died. Pardon, oh pardon, Bellimperia, my fear and care in not believing it. Nor think I thoughtless think upon a mean to let his death be unrevenged at full. And here I vow, so you but give consent, and I will conceal my resolution. I will ere long determine of their deaths that causeless thus have murdered my son.
Hieronimo, I will consent, conceal, and aught that may effect for thine avail, join with thee to revenge Horatio's death.
On then, and whatsoever I devise, let me entreat you, grace my practices. For why the plot's already in mine head. Oh, here they are.
How now, Hieronimo? What, courting Bellimperia?
Aye, my lord. Such courting as, I promise you, she hath my heart. But you, my lord, have hers.
But now, Hieronimo, or never, we are to entreat your help.
My help? Why, my good lords, assure yourselves of me, for you have given me cause. Aye, by my faith have you.
It pleased you at the entertainment of the ambassador to grace the king so much as with a show. Now were your study so well furnished, as for the passing of the first night's sport, to entertain my father with the like, or any such like pleasing motion, I assure yourself it would content them well.
Is this all?
Aye, this is all.
Oh, why then, I'll fit you. Say no more. When I was young, I gave my mind and plied myself to fruitless poetry, which, though it profit the professor naught, yet is it passing pleasing to the world.
And how for that?
Marry, my good lord, thus, and yet methinks you are too quick with us. When in Toledo, there I studied. It was my chance to write a tragedy. See here, my lords, which long forgot. I found this other day. Now, would your lordships favour me so much as but to grace me with your acting in it? I mean, each one of you to play a part. Assure you, it will prove most passing strange and wondrous plausible to that assembly.
What? Would you have us play a tragedy?
Why? Nero thought it no disparagement, and kings and emperors have ta'en delight to make experience of their wits in plays.
Nay, be not angry, good Hieronimo. The prince but asked the question.
In faith, Hieronimo, and you be in earnest, I'll make one.
And I another.
Now, my good lord, could you entreat your sister Bellimperia to make one? For what's a play without a woman in it?
Little entreaty shall serve me, Hieronimo, for I must needs be employed in your play.
Why, this is well. I tell you, lordings, it was determined to have been acted by gentlemen, and scholars too, such as could tell what to speak.
And now it shall be played by princes and courtiers, such as can tell how to speak, if, as it is our country manner, you will but let us know the argument.
That I shall roundly. The Chronicles of Spain record this written of a Knight of Rhodes. He was betrothed and wedded at the length to one Persida, an Italian dame, whose beauty ravished all that her beheld, especially the soul of Solomon, who, at the marriage, was the chiefest guest. By sundry means sought Solomon to win Persida's love, and could not gain the same. Then gan he to break his passions to a friend, one of his bashaws, whom he held full dear. Her had this bashaw long solicited, and saw she was not otherwise to be won but by her husband's death, this Knight of Rhodes, whom presently, by treachery, he slew. She, stirred with an exceeding hate thereof, as cause of this, slew Soliman, and to escape the bashaw's tyranny, did stab herself. Oh, and this is the tragedy.
Oh, most excellent.
But say, Hieronimo, what then became of him that was the bashaw?
Nary thus. Moved with remorse of his misdeeds, ran to a mountain top and hung himself.
But which of us is to perform that part?
Oh, that will I, my lords. Oh, make no doubt of it. I'll play the murderer, I warrant you, for I already have conceited that.
And what shall I?
Oh, great Soliman, the Turkish emperor.
And I?
Erastus, the Knight of Rhodes.
And I?
Persida, chaste and resolute. And here, my lords, are several abstracts drawn for each of you to note your parts and acted as occasions offered. You must provide a Turkish cap, a black mustachio, and a falchion. You with a cross, like a Knight of Rhodes. And madam, you must attire yourself like Phoebe, Flora, or the huntress, which to your discretion shall seem best. And for me, my lords, I'll look to one, and with the ransom that the Viceroy sent, so furnish and perform this tragedy as all the world shall say, Hieronimo was liberal in gracing of it so.
Hieronimo, methinks a comedy were better.
A comedy? Fie! Comedies are fit for common wits, but to present a kingly troop withal, oh, give me a stately written tragedy. Tragedia Cortonata, fitting kings, containing matter, and not common things. My lords, all this must be performed as fitting for the first night's revelling. The Italian tragedians were so sharp of wit that in 1 hour's meditation they would perform anything in action.
And well it may, for I have seen the like in Paris amongst the French tragedians.
In Paris? Oh, mass and well remembered. There's one thing more that rests for us to do.
What's that, Hieronimo? Forget not anything.
Each one of us must act his part in unknown languages, that it may breed the more variety. As you, my lord, in Latin, I in Greek, you in Italian, And for because I know that Bellimperia hath practised the French, in courtly French shall all her phrases be.
You mean to try my cunning then, Hieronimo?
But this will be a mere confusion, and hardly shall we all be understood.
It must be so, for the conclusion shall prove the invention and all was good. And I myself, in an oration, and with a strange and wondrous show besides, that I will have there behind a curtain, assure yourself, shall make the matter known. And all shall be concluded in one scene, for there's no pleasure ta'en in tediousness.
How like you this?
Why, thus, my lord, we must resolve to soothe his humours up.
On then, Hieronimo. Farewell till soon.
You'll ply this gear?
I warrant you.
Why so? Now shall I see the fall of Babylon, wrought by the heavens in this confusion. And if the world like not this tragedy, hard is the hap of old Hieronimo.
Tell me no more. Oh, monstrous homicides! Since neither piety nor pity moves the king to justice or compassion, I will revenge myself upon this place, where thus they murdered my beloved son. Down with these branches and these loathsome boughs of this unfortunate and fatal pine. Down with them, Isabella, rip them up, and burn the roots from whence the rest is sprung. I will not leave a root, a stalk, a tree, a bough, a branch, a blossom, nor a leaf. No, not a herb within this garden plot. A cursed complot of my misery. Fruitless forever may this garden be, barren the earth, and blissless whosoe'er imagines not to keep it unmanured. An eastern wind, commixed with noisome airs, shall blast the plants and the young saplings. The earth with serpents shall be pestered, and passengers, for fear to be infect, shall stand aloof, and looking at it tell, there murdered died the son of Isabel. I hear he died, and here I him embrace. See, where his ghost solicits with his wounds revenge on her that should revenge his death. Hieronimo, make haste to see thy son, for sorrow and despair have sighted me to hear Horatio plead with Rhadamanth. Make haste, Hieronimo, to hold excuse thy negligence in pursuit of their deaths, whose hateful wrath bereaved him of his breath. Oh nay, thou dost delay their deaths. Forgiv'st the murderers of thy noble son, and none but I bestir me to no end. And as I curse this tree from further fruit, so shall my womb be cursed for his sake, and with this weapon
I will wound the breast, the hapless breast that gave Horatio suck.
How now, Hieronimo? Where's your fellows that you take all this pain?
Sir, it is for the author's credit to look that all things may go well. Oh, but good my lord, let me entreat your grace to give the king the copy of the play. This is the argument of what we show.
I will, Hieronimo.
Oh, one thing more, my good lord.
What's that?
Let me entreat your grace that when the train are passed into the gallery, you would vouchsafe to throw me down the key.
I will, Hieronimo.
What? Are you ready, Balthazar? Bring a chair and a cushion for the king. Oh. Well done, Balthazar. Hang up the title. Our scene is in Rhodes. What? Is your beard on?
Half on. The other is in my hand.
Dispatch for shame. Are you so long? Bethink thyself, Hieronimo. Recall thy wits. Recount thy former wrongs thou hast received by murder of thy son. And lastly, not least, how Isabel, once his mother and thy dearest wife, all woebegone for him, hath slain herself. Behoves it then, Hieronimo, to be revenged. The plot is laid of dire revenge. On then, Hieronimo, pursue revenge, for nothing once but acting of revenge.
Now, Viceroy, shall we see the tragedy of Solomon, the Turkish emperor, performed of pleasure by your son, the prince, my nephew, Don Lorenzo, and my niece?
Who? Bellimperia?
I and Hieronimo, our marshal, at whose request they deign to do it themselves. These be our pastimes in the court of Spain. Here, brother, you shall be the bookkeeper. This is the argument of the show.
Bashaw, that Rhodes is ours. Yield heavens the honour, and holy Mahomet, our sacred prophet, and be thou graced with every excellence that Solomon can give, or thou desire. But thy desert in conquering Rhodes is less than in reserving this fair Christian Posada, blissful lamp of excellence, whose eyes compel, like powerful adamant, the warlike heart of Solomon to wait.
See, Viceroy, this is Balthazar, your son, that represents the Emperor Solomon. How well he acts his amorous passion.
Aye, Bellimperia hath taught him that.
That's because his mind runs all on Bellimperia.
Whatever joy earth yields, betide your majesty.
Earth yields no joy without Posada's love.
Let then Posada on your grace attend.
She shall not wait on me, but I on her. Drawn by the influence of her lights, I yield. But let my friend, the Rhodian knight, come forth. Erasto, dearer than my life to me, that he may see Posada, my beloved.
Here comes Lorenzo. Look upon the plot and tell me, brother, what part plays he?
Ah, my Erasto, welcome to Posada.
Right happy is Erasto that thou livest. Rhodes' loss is nothing to Erasto's joy. Sith his Posada lives, his life survives.
Ah, Bashaw, Here is love between Erasto and fair Poseida, sovereign of my soul.
Remove Erasto, mighty Solomon, and then Poseida will be quickly won.
Erasto is my friend, and while he lives, Poseida never will remove her love.
Let not Erasto live to grieve great Solomon.
Dear is Erasto in our princely eye.
But if he be your rival, let him die.
Why let him die? So love commandeth me, yet grieve I that Erasto should so die.
Erasto, Solomon saluteth thee, and lets thee wit by me his highness will, which is, thou should be thus employed.
Ay me, Erasto, see, Solomon, Erasto slain.
Yet liveth Solomon to comfort thee, fair queen of beauty. Let not favour die, but with a gracious eye behold his grief, that with Poseida's beauty is increased, if by Poseida his grief be not released.
Tyrant, desist soliciting vain suits. Relentless are mine ears to thy laments, as thy butcher is pitiless and base, which seized on my Erasto, harmless knight, yet by thy power thou thinkest to command, and to thy power Poseida doth obey. But were she able, thus she would revenge thy treacheries on thee, ignoble prince, and on herself she would be thus revenged.
Well said, old Marshal. This was bravely done.
Bellimperia plays Poseida well.
With this in earnest, Bellimperia, you would be better to my son than so.
But now what follows for Hieronimo?
Marry! This follows for Hieronimo. Here break we off our sundry languages, and thus conclude I in our vulgar tongue. Haply, you think, but bootless are your thoughts, that this is a fabulously counterfeit, and that we do as all tragedians do, to die today, for fashioning our scene the death of Ajax or some Roman peer, and in a minute starting up again, revive, to please tomorrow's audience. No, princess, no, I am Hieronimo, the hopeless father of a hapless son, whose tongue is tuned to tell his latest tale, not to excuse gross errors in the play. I see your looks urge instance of these words. Behold, the reason urging me to this. See here, my show. Look on this spectacle. Here lay my hope, and here my hope hath end. Here lay my heart, and here my heart was slain. Here lay my treasure, here my treasure lost. Here lay my bliss, and here my bliss bereft. But hope, heart, treasure, joy, and bliss all fled, failed, died, yea, all decayed with this. From forth these wounds came breath that gave me life. They murdered me that made these fatal marks. The cause was love. When screw this mortal hate. The hate, Lorenzo and young Balthazar. The love, my son to Bellimperia. But night, the coverer of accursed crimes, with pitchy silence hushed these traitors' harms, and lent them leave, for they had sorted leisure to take advantage in my garden plot upon my son. My dear Horatio. There, merciless, they butchered up my boy in black dark night to pale, dim, cruel death. Oh no, he shrieks. I heard, and yet methinks I hear his dismal outcry echo in the air. With soonest speed, I hasted to the noise, while hanging on a tree. I found my son, through girt with wounds and slaughtered, as you see. And grieved I, think you, at this spectacle? Speak, Portuguese, whose loss resembles mine. If thou canst weep upon my Balthazar, 'tis like I wailed for my Horatio. And you, my lord, whose reconciled son marched in a net and thought himself unseen, and rated me for brain-sick lunacy with God amend that mad Hieronimo. How can you brook our play's catastrophe? And behold, this bloody handkerchief, which at Horatio's death I, weeping, dipped within the river of his bleeding wounds, it, as propitious sea, I have reserved. Never hath it left my bloody heart, so that in remembrance of my vow with these accursed murderers, which now performed, my heart is satisfied. To this end, the bashaw I became, that might revenge me on Lorenzo's life, who therefore was appointed to the part and was to represent the Knight of Rose, that I might kill him more conveniently. So, Viceroy, was this Balthazar, thy son, that Solomon, which Bellimperia, in person of Poseidon, murdered. Solely appointed to that tragic part that she might slay him that offended her. Poor Bellimperia missed her part in this. For though the story saith she should have died, yet I, of kindness and of care to her, would otherwise determine of her end. But love of him whom they did hate too much did urge her resolution to be such, and princes, now behold Hieronimo, author and actor in this tragedy, bearing his latest fortune in his fist, and will as resolute conclude his part. And gentles, thus I end my play. Urge no more words. I have no more to say.
Oh, hearken, Viceroy! Hold, Hieronimo! Brother, my nephew and thy son are slain!
We are betrayed! My Balthazar is slain! Break open the doors! Run! Save Hieronimo! But inform the king of these events. Upon mine honour thou shalt have no harm.
Oh, Viceroy, I will not trust thee with my life, which I this day have offered to my son. Oh, accursed wretch! Why stayest thou him that was resolved to die?
Speak, traitor, damn the bloody murderer, speak, for now I have thee, I will make thee speak. What hast thou done, this undeserving deed?
Why hast thou murdered my Balthazar?
Why hast thou butchered both my children thus?
Oh, good words! As dear to me was my Horatio, as yours, or yours, or yours, my lord, to you. My guiltless son is by Lorenzo slain. And by Lorenzo and that Balthazar, upon whose souls may heaven yet be avenged, with greater far than these afflictions.
But who are thy confederates in this?
That was thy daughter Bellimperia, for by her hand my Balthazar was slain. I saw her stab him.
Dost thou not?
What lesser liberty can kings afford than harmless silence? Then afford it me. Suffice, I may not, nor I will not tell thee.
Fetch forth the tortures, traitor as thou art. I'll make thee tell.
Oh, indeed. Thou mayst torment me, as his wretched son hath done in murdering my Horatio. But never shalt thou force me to reveal the thing which I have vowed inviolate. And therefore, in spite of all thy threats, pleased with their deaths and eased with their revenge, first take my tongue and afterwards my heart.
Oh, monstrous resolution of a wretch. See, Viceroy, he has bitten forth his tongue rather than to reveal what we required.
Yet he can write.
And if in this he satisfy us not, we will devise the extremest kind of death that ever was invented for a wretch.
Oh, he would have a knife to mend his pen.
Hear and advise thee that thou write the truth.
Look to my brother, to save Hieronimo! What age hath ever heard such monstrous deeds? My brother, and the whole succeeding hope that Spain expected after my decease. Oh, bear his body hence that we may mourn the loss of our beloved brother's death, that he may be entombed. Whate'er befall, I am the next, the nearest, last of all.
And thou, Don Pedro, do the like for us. Take up our hapless son, untimely slain. Set me with him, and he with woeful me, upon the mainmast of a ship unmanned, and let the wind and tide haul me along to Scylla's barking and untamed gulf, or to the loathsome pool of Acheron, to weep my want for my sweet Balthazar. Spain hath no refuge for Portugal.
Aye, now my hopes have ended their effects. When blood and sorrow finish my desires, Horatio murdered in his father's bower, vile Cerberine by Pedringano slain, false Pedringano hanged by quaint device, fair Isabella by herself misdone, Prince Balthazar by Bellimperia stabbed, Duke of Castile and his wicked son, both done to death by old Hieronimo. My Bellimperia fallen, as Dido fell, and good Hieronimo slain by himself. Aye, these were spectacles to please my soul. Now will I beg at lovely Proserpine, that by the virtue of her princely doom, I may consort my friends in pleasing sort, and on my foes work just and sharp revenge. I'll lead my friend Horatio through those fields where never-dying wars are still inured. I'll lead fair Isabella to that train where pity weeps, but never feeleth pain. I'll lead my Bellimperia to those joys that vestal virgins and fair queens possess. I'll lead Hieronimo where Orpheus plays, adding sweet pleasure to eternal days. But say, revenge, for thou must help, or none against the rest. How shall my hate be shown?
This hand shall hale them down to deepest hell, where none but furies, bugs, and tortures dwell.
Then, sweet revenge, do this at my request. Let me be judge, and doom them to unrest. Let loose poor Titius from the vulture's gripe, and let Don Cyprian supply his room. Place Don Lorenzo on Ixion's wheel, and let the lover's endless pain surcease. Juno forgets old wrath and grants him ease. Hang Balthazar about Chimera's neck, and let him there bewail his bloody repining at our joys that are above. Let Cerberine go roll the fatal stone, and take from Sisyphus his endless moan. False Pedringano, for his treachery, let him be dragged through boiling Acheron, and there live, dying still in endless flames, blaspheming gods and all their holy names.
Then haste we down to meet thy friends and foes, to place thy friends in ease, the rest in woes. For here, though death hath end their misery, I'll there begin their endless tragedy. And that concludes our second look run at the Spanish tragedy. I'll ask everyone to come back in the room, and I will endeavour to allow people who were banished without recourse to return, then give them an opportunity to come back in. I will endeavour to do that. Some gremlins in the work. Some things went well. Some things we hit the odd pitch invasion. It happens. And some timing issues, but it was interesting raising and giving us the chance to see the flow of the action as well, that I was finding quite interesting. That question of, if you're doing a production, where do you put the interval? Where we put the interval is a very good and logical place to close the first half, but it's not actually quite the way to open a second half. And just tweaking that and making that work is interesting. But then once we get into it, it really sort of flows and moves in really interesting ways once we get back into all those stuff. Yes, the question in the chat, can you do it without an interval? Not with my back, you can't.
Or the audience's bladder.
Yeah, I mean, the first half as it ran without cuts was 1 hour 45. I mean, you'd get that down, but with cuts and strategic pacing. But it's a tricky one. And that question, three act structures, really went out of fashion a long time ago. But hey, maybe we should revive. Some early modern plays really struggle with where to put an interval. They don't actually, they resist an interval. I don't think it's a massive problem, but I'll throw it to the room, as well as other thoughts from the room about how it all went. Sarah had some technical challenges, which by the time you see this video will have been tweaked to make that flow beautifully. I say beautifully, horrifyingly. Seems to be the week of bloody horror in terms of sessions. We did Tancred and Gismunda. That involved eye gouging and someone with the bloody heart of their lover delivered to them by a servant. So it's that kind of week. So methinks a comedy were better next time. Maybe we'll try and do something a bit lighter. Thoughts from the room? Anyone want to about how it flowed for them? Lynn.
I didn't have a problem with beginning with Isabella's scene, the beginning of the second half that way. Just FYI, I thought the way the thing was split was fine.
Yeah, I mean, it wasn't so much that first scene. It was more actually getting back into the swing with the Lorenzo and the other sort of minutiae of court politics. If it just started, you could start with the two sides of Spain and Portugal meeting straight away. Then it might have a slightly better. But you can't do that because of the way the play is structured. But yeah, I really like actually starting with Isabella. I think it's really nice because you need to be reminded, because it's all about grief and how people are playing with grief, coping with grief or not. I mean, Hieronimo doesn't have the best of. Someone wave, please, dear God. Things, Helen.
Yeah, I'm pretty convinced, and that we ought now to redo the final act with the play being done in the various languages. Because if anybody had an opportunity to do that, it's us. We've got 2 people who are good at French, 2 people who can do Greek. We've got, what are the other languages? Italian, we've got at least 1 Italian. And if we can't find a Latinist between us, then we're doing pretty badly, because I know people who can do and I think it was obviously intended to be that way. And I think we ought to, who better than us to give it a shot?
Yeah. Oh no, I quite agree. Absolutely.
Has someone done the text though? I mean, is anybody here capable of translating those lines into?
Well, that's what I'm saying.
Oh.
We've got an Italian. We've got 2 people who are speaking French all the time. We've got 2 people who are Greek or live in Greece or a Greek territory. And as I say, I can probably drum up a couple of competent Latinists, so we can do it. I mean, it doesn't have to be it doesn't have to be good.
In fact,
it just has to be credible.
Yes, that's the thing, is it doesn't have to be comprehensible. In fact, the point is that it is incomprehensible. And I mean, I really did love when Balthazar came on and was Balthazar giving their all in a really nicely sort of pitched of, this is, and I just love the parent sort of quality of going, oh look, it's your son. Isn't he doing well? Quality to this, which I absolutely adore. But if they're also speaking what to the most of the audience is gibberish, I mean, it has a deliberate absurdity to it. Rachael, then Eric.
Yeah, I want to try what Helen suggested. Maybe if because there's scenes that have been workshopped in the past, even though those were towards second looks, maybe just to try it with the various languages, because there is that that bilingual quality of playing with I don't know, like false friends or something, things that sound to the ear the same but have different meanings and create a sort of new dimension to what is being said, that creates a certain perspective in the acting of them.
Oh yes, I wonder if there were deliberate homophones put in place so that when they're actually in another language. It sounds like I'm going to kill you now, or something strange like that. I wouldn't pull it part. I mean, there's no way of knowing in absolute terms what the original would have been because it's lost. But that's a really interesting idea. I really like that. Eric.
I was gonna say that, like, when we started, like, the Spanish tragedy, the second look one, like, because obviously I'd seen the videos, but it was kind of like, it made more sense if you attach the first part of Hieronimo to this because of the introduction of the characters. But then I'm like, that's gonna be a very, very long play to sit through and to create.
It has been attempted in bits.
But then also, I guess, like, in that case, if you stick them together, then you don't really need the ghost in some ways. Although you kind of have that element of, I need my revenge, oh, revenge, please kill someone. Yeah.
But do you need the ghost, or could you just let it all hang out?
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. I don't know.
Lois.
Yeah, I was thinking really I'd like to see it with Solomon and Perseda, because it's so interesting when that comes up, toward the end, and then they do this incredibly reduced version. It's like those comic, get the whole of think of play in 1 minute, which I've seen a number of. Yeah, the other thing I'd never realized before, but the doubling of Lorenzo and Andrea actually does work, doesn't it, in terms of the play within the play? I mean, it didn't make sense to me until the end, but the idea that that Solomon replaces Andrea, just as Balthazar is replacing. Solomon's replacing Erastus, or trying to, just as Balthazar is trying to replace Andrea. You probably all discussed that earlier, but anyway, it only just clicked with me.
We have done as a first look Solomon and Perseda, and it's definitely one that we want to come around to again. I mean, in a sense, the complete Kyd is in progress as far as second looks are concerned. We're halfway through. We've done first looks on all 4 plays that are extant, and so 2 more to go. And I definitely see that Cornelia and Solomon and Perseda is something we're going to come around to, and to then take further. Just on the note about coming back to the languages in this final scene, we still have the additions to look at as well. So as part of the process of coming back to look at the additions that are written to go into the text, that seems like a good target actually to fold the 2 tasks together. Because the next stage is the mythical third look, which the emphasis is all about what we do with the text. Actually saying, right, we'll cut for some things. But then the question is, what do we cut? What kind of version are we trying to sculpt, and what medium we're trying to sculpt it for? So I think that's absolutely what we should be doing for the next phase at looking at this play, and also getting around to doing the other kids to keep them alive in our memory with how they interrelate. It feels like a plan. I am aware of time. We landed about on time. Does anyone have any additional thoughts before we close the session and go back to our lives? No? Thank you very much for all the wonderful readers' performance this time. You're seeing this in our relative future as this goes into some edits now. We do try to continue doing second looks in greater and lesser degree, 1 or 2 a week if we can manage it across different sessions, and hopefully continue to build on things that are increasingly entertaining rather than just educational. And on that note, thanks to all the readers, and goodbye.
Bye.
Yeah, methinks comedy were better.